Hello and welcome back to another Diablo Immortal video. Today I'm bringing you the ultimate guide to my Barbarian builds in 2025. I'm going to be sharing with you guys 3 different Barbarian builds inside of this video, all of which are, in my opinion, some of the most relevant for PvE, PvP, and high damage inside of the game. We're going to start off today with our PvE, our farming build, the build that you use when you go out in the world and you just want to do a bunch of quick damage to quickly run around circles and farm up the area. Now, I'm going to go through the skills, the secondary gear, we'll go through the primary gear, and we'll even go through what we're using as our paragon skills as well. I have the same charm that I'm using for all of these builds. And to be very honest with you, all of these builds use the exact same green items and they use the exact same gems inside of the primary pieces of gear as well. So I'm going to go through the green items and the primary gems on only the farming build, and then I'll share with you the skills, the essences, and the paragon items for the other ones, because the greens and the gems, they remain the same across all 3 builds. So let's start off here with, well, start off taking a look at the charm. I basically always recommend you just put together the best charm that you can put together for a barbarian, getting as many of the skill bonuses that you typically use on there. The charm system is wonky, just do your best, and this is the best I've been able to do. I don't think that is a game changer either way. I come on over here and I have my Ash Sweeper. This is the pet that I'm using. The main thing is I want Savior on my pet so that it can help me in PvP. And let's get into the green items. I'm wearing a 4-piece Awakener's Urge. What this is gonna do, it's Vithu's Urge. It's basically gonna give us the duration of all of our beneficial effects on me and party members by 30%, and increases the target's attack speed by 30% for 3 seconds each time you use a skill. Basically, it's gonna let all of my skills and all of that last longer. This is a green item that you'll see used on a lot of builds, and honestly on a lot of different classes as well. Then I'm also going with Untouchable Mount Bank. Now, I understand that for farming, which this is my farming build, you don't need Untouchable Mount Bank. You don't need it. You don't need the extra protection. But you also don't need the extra damage or anything that you would get from any other set items, so I just keep the one that I have here for PvP. At the end of the day, the PvP build is my main focus because that's where there is the most competition. So here, Untouchable Mount Bank, each time you take damage, you have a 20% chance to gain a shield that absorbs damage equal to 13% of your max life. And Mount Bank shield damage absorption is increased by 33% on your maximum life. Again, these green items are used across all of the 3 builds you're going to be hearing about here in today's video. All right, let's go and take a look at some of our skills. I use Lacerate. This is the primary attack I use across all 3 builds. I think it's probably the better one right now. I don't care if you were to choose Frenzy though instead, if that's one you like better. We go with Sprint for quick movement, Wrath of the Berserker for a lot of burn, Chain Spear for some continuous damage, and Demoralize for also more continuous damage. Most of these are changed by the essences that we're using. The essences are, starting off, Whirling Howl. This here, we have a Roiling Consequence. I have a rank 4 out of 5-star gem. Also, you will notice that I have almost all 5-star gems that I'm using. If you're a free-to-play player, there are plenty of 1 and 2-star gems that you could use in place of some of these, and I do have guides on the channel that tell you what some of the best 1-star gems are and that tell you what some of the best 2-star gems are, so please do what's right for you. And to be honest with you, some of these gems I just like, and there may be better ones for the build. Roiling Consequence is the main gem that I'm using, primarily for PvP. And what we have here is the essence is Typhoon Step. Demoralize now empowers your steps with wind, causing your movement to emit blasts every few yards that damage nearby enemies. All right. Also notice every single slot we have awakened. Each piece of gear is a high enough level to awaken those slots, so we're getting these extra bonuses here as well. We have Shackled Fate. Here I'm going with a blood-soaked jade, 4 out of 5-star gem, rank 5. And by the way, the magic attributes that we have right here, leap is not one that I'm not using leap. With the new way that you can get gear inside of the game, it has been easier for me to get higher combat rating gear, more difficult to get the magic attributes. So we go for the combat rating, at least for right now. And the legendary essence is Chain Spear now conjures the spirit of the ancients for a short time that repeatedly casts Chain Spear, damaging, slowing, and pulling in enemies. Basically, it auto attacks Chain Spear, and it's massive for damage across many different builds. Hell's Legacy are the shoulders that we're using. We're actually going with a 2-star, rank 10, Fervent Fang Gem, completely maxed. And we have the legendary essence, Sprint leaves a trail of flames, dealing 14,500 damage to enemies over 4 seconds. Continuous burn damage, great for farming. Buried Talons, another 2-star gem, rank 10, Pain Clasp. And here, Chain Spear also increases your damage by 19% for 3 seconds. Beautiful. We pop that all the time. Every single thing that we're using here has 100% uptime as well. I have for my first primary weapon, Lion's Mane. Inside we have a rank 5, 4 out of 5-star Bottled Hope. And Demoralize now also detonates the wounds of nearby enemies, immediately resolving any continual damage effects. Nice big build here, very much built around Demoralize. The second is Rending Bite, which is going to help us with our Lacerate, inflicting bleed damage that deals 22,000 damage over 3 seconds. And by the way, we are using a 4 out of 5-star, rank 5, Seeping Bile gem inside of that one. Taking a look at the secondary pieces of gear, Sundred Legacy has a 4 out of 5-star, rank 5, Gloom Cask gem. And we have the Wrath of the Berserker now causes nearby enemies to burn. Wrath of the Berserker damage is increased. Basically, you have a ring of fire around you whenever Wrath of the Berserker is up. We have 100% uptime on Wrath of the Berserker, and we are just continuously burning everything. And I'm able to make this guide because I finally unlocked this essence, Promised Sunrise. And this is utilizing a 4 out of 5-star, Void Spark, rank 5 gem. And the legendary essence here, when Demoralize hits an enemy, your attack and movement speed increases by 9.5% for 3 seconds, up to a maximum of 29%. So we are going to be going very fast because Demoralize continuously hits. You have the skills, the gear, the essences, the greens, the charm. We do need to still look at the Paragon tree that we're using. We are going with the Vanquisher Paragon tree right here. Essentially, if we take a look deeper into the Paragon tree, for Vanquisher, we are just going with Lucky, Swift Learner, Gold Find, Treasure Find, and Greed. Remember, this is for farming. This is just some additional resources we'll get in the open world. All right, so that was the farming build. We also want to take a look at the big damage build. So the farming build is right here. I can give you another look at it right here if you like. That's what it all looks like right there. We can go with the big damage build now as well. This is for things like if you're doing dungeons that are very difficult, or if you're going against Helliquary bosses. This is the damage, this is the build that I like to utilize. We have activated it. Let's take a look at everything from the beginning. First of all, the skills, again, we're using Lacerate, Wrath of the Berserker, still, Chain Spear, still, Cleave, and Sunder. Again, green items, and the gems in the green items are all the same. The charm is same, the pet is the same, and all the gems are the same. So basically, we're going to be looking at the essences, and we're going to be looking at the Paragon tree choices. One, we have Brace of Ancestors. And the essence here, Wrath the Berserker, now causes your primary attacks to deal 100% of the damage done to nearby enemies. Wrath the Berserker cooldown reduced, strengthening Wrath of the Berserker. Oh, by the way, well, we'll get to those in a second. We have Shackled Fate. Chain Spear now conjures the spirit of the ancients. This is the same that we had in the previous build. We have Nature's Temper for our shoulders. And that is Wrath of the Berserker now also causes your primary attacks to consume 1% of your current life, dealing 10,000 additional damage with each strike. So you lose a tiny bit of life, and you do a lot more damage. Plus we have Mount Bank and all that for the shielding still, so we are good to go. I was going to say the runes, I just put in the best possible runes that I have for that slot. You should do the same. We have Scale Sunder for the pants. And here the essence is Chain Spear now also shatters armor, increasing all damage enemies take by 8% for just under 5 seconds. With the primary weapon number 1, it's Borrowed Might, and this is one for Cleave. Cleave now grants the power of the ancients, periodically conjuring a spirit of the ancients to cleave through nearby enemies. Again, this basically puts Cleave on auto, continuously cleaving without you having to actually strike the button. And we're using Rending Bite again for the second primary weapon, which is going to increase the damage done by Lacerate. If you're not using Lacerate, if you're using Frenzy instead, you're going to want to change out that essence. We have Falling Thunder as the secondary weapon, and the essence here, Wrath of the Berserker, also enrages you when you are near a bleeding enemy, increasing the damage you deal by almost 30%. So when it's a bleeding enemy, which also comes from Lacerate, which is something you are continuously using against the big boss, it will make Wrath of the Berserker cause even more damage because of that bleed. And then we have Roar of the Persuasion. This is going to... Wrath of the Berserker no longer increases attack and movement speed. Instead, it now increases critical hit damage and gives you life drain. Wrath of the Berserker cooldown is reduced by 7%. I really, really like this. This has been a good big damage one. And I'm using Slayer for the Paragon tree. So we can see right here, going with Slayer, proficiency, tempo, up the tempo, vigor, and collateral damage. That is our big damage build. Again, you're basically going to be going on in, and you are going to hit Wrath of the Berserker, Chain Spear, you're going to cleave, and you're going to sunder, and you're just going to then primary attack like crazy on the big boss. I should have probably just done that on a dummy. It's fine. We'll come back over here. Now, we have one more build, which is my favorite of all of these, and that is our PvP build that I want to share with you. Switch loadout. Let's go to our PvP build. And you may be wondering why I don't have loadout number 1 done. It's because when you open this up, it autos this. And if you accidentally hit overwrite or something, you will overwrite that. I've done it many times. So now I leave loadout number 1 blank. PvP. Let's activate this right here. Now, this is the Flickerstone build. It's my favorite build inside of PvP, maybe across all classes. The skills it uses are Lacerate, Wrath of the Berserker, Chain Spear. That's been consistent. Hammer of the Ancients and Undying Rage. You want Undying Rage so you could get that extra life in PvP, and Hammer of the Ancients is your primary attack. Here, we have our first piece of gear, Krubask's Sneer. During Wrath of the Berserker, your critical hit chances increase by 20%. We have Shackled Fate. Chains of the Ancients now conjures the Spirit of the Ancients, the same one that we've been using, where the Chain Spear continuously attacks. We go with Loathsome Lamina. Wrath of the Berserker also grants you a shield for 6 seconds that absorbs 30,000 damage. I love this. Shield effect is increased by 54%. Between Loathsome Lamina, Undying Rage, and the Mount Bank that we're wearing, we are shielded pretty darn nicely here inside of PvP. Our pants are Buried Talons. This is Chain Spear, increases your damage by 19%. Our primary weapon is Rage Caller. Hammer of the Ancients is now electrified, slowing enemy movement speed by 50% for 3.2 seconds. Our second primary weapon is Stonefall. Hammer of the Ancients damage is increased by 19%. We are trying to make Hammer of the Ancients a beast because we spam it in PvP. Flickerstone, this is the key to the build. If you don't have Flickerstone, Flickertone, my bad, this does not work. So, Flickertone, Restless Hammer. Hammer of the Ancients now charges energy with each of your attacks, which is consumed on use to increase the damage and strike radius. Hammer of the Ancients damage is increased by 18%. Essentially, it lets you spam it. Back in the day, it used to let you unlimited Hammer of the Ancients, and it was unstoppable. They've nerfed that, but it's still very, very good. Flicker Tone. It's a must-have for this build. And then Berg Breaker. Wrath of the Berserker now causes you to retaliate, dealing damage to nearby enemies when you are attacked. So if I get attacked, I do damage to those around me. Let's take a look at the Paragon that we're using right here. I believe it's Gladiator. Yes, it is. Cheat Death. Quick-witted, uncontrollable, trapper, rapid recovery. Mainly it's cheat death that I wanted to go with there. So I'm cheating death with Paragon, cheating death with Undying Rage, and I'm cheating death with Savior in my pet as well. If you want to see how Flicker Tone works, you basically hit Wrath of the Berserker, you hit Chain Spear, you never touch Undying Rage, and then you just continuously slam down on your enemies. And if you want to, you could do some attacks as well, and you are just doing a ton of damage on your enemies, and you get that really nice shield to protect you as well. Barbarian is my favorite class inside of the game. It's the class that I've enjoyed the most and the class that I always come back to when I change. And I'm really happy that I've now been able to share with you my 3 favorite builds for this class. Of course, we're always upgrading gear, upgrading your items. You're always looking for better things. And by the way, for anyone that wants to know, we are sitting with 3,400 resonance on this build. This is not a free-to-play player build. This is a very low spender build. To the point of probably $20 per month, which maybe to you is not low spender, but for this game, it is a very small spender. We are nowhere near what whales spend inside of this game or what pay-to-win players pay in this game. I basically buy the 3 services every day. So 3,400 resonance is what I've accumulated in 3 years of playing the game. Please keep all of that in mind. And that is my 3 favorite builds for you as a barbarian inside Diablo Immortal. If you enjoyed the video or found it valuable, please subscribe for daily videos and check out my website, echogaming.io.